All right, so yo, listen, this is about asteroids, y'all. Kareem, let me know what's your native tongue, what y'all speaking out there in Africa, so I could look into doing the what is it, the captions in y'all language, so y'all can comprehend it to its fullest extent when I drop these videos. All right, um, but let's get into it. The asteroids, right? So there's around an estimate of 200,000 asteroids. All right. Yeah. So you can understand how complicated it could get to detailing each one. So what I'm gonna do on this video is I'm gonna focus on the main four, or should I say the four that's used frequently. All right. And that would be Ceres, Pallas, Athena, Juno or Juno, and Vesta. All right. Um, so these asteroids are going to be similar to how planets are expressed inside of your natal chart. They have these characteristics that they embody, and when they're in a sign, they're they influence the expression of the sign. So the sign is the expression, the asteroid is the influence of it, and the house that it's in is going to be the result of that. All right. So I'll give small examples of how they pertain to my chart so you can identify how to read them, but just don't get caught up in my descriptions because yours will differ because you'll more than likely have different signs in different houses. But when I speak about the asteroid, the characteristics of the asteroid, it's important to remember the characteristics of that asteroid. So then you can use the computation for yourself. So let's start with Ceres. Ceres is the largest of the asteroids, and it represents the harvest, the domestic life, nurturing, healing, and growth. All right. So this is going to be, this is where you learn how you're going to provide those things in your life and to other people. Domestic life, it should be your family, right? So, this might not land in the fourth house, which represents the result of family and domestic life. For instance, my Ceres is in the eighth house, I believe. Yes, it's in the eighth house in the sign of Aries. So for me, it's like, yeah, this makes it simpler for me to explain this. So for me, it's like the more, because the sign is the expression. This is how you gotta, when you're influenced by Ceres, it's like, how am I going to get what I need to get in order to prepare for my family, in order to do for my family, right? Because you could have a fourth house that represents family and domestic life, and you don't know how to activate the things that you need for there because you don't look at Ceres, right? So when you look at Ceres, you get to figure out how you're going to do those things based upon where it's at, what sign it's in. So then it's like, oh, Aries, entrepreneurship, throwing a lot of gum at the wall and see which one sticks, being on go frequently. And this is how I obtain, personally, this is how I obtain. And this is me out of my comfort zone as well, because first of all, it's in the eighth house, meaning I want to be behind the scenes with it. And I'm a Pisces, so I definitely want to be behind the scenes with it. However, I got to get fiery and I got to get snappy and doing all of this stuff. Obviously, I'm going to be seen taking action, doing some of these things. Not all of them, though. Not all of them. It's just getting it started, being fiery to get things started, to get things in motion. Because again, the result is going to be in the eighth house for me. So eventually I'm going to be behind the scenes. That's why y'all see me take long periods, long breaks away from the screen and all that, because I'm harvesting. You understand what I'm saying? Everything, all of that stuff that I threw at the wall, now I'm collecting, and I'm incognito with it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, with it being in the eighth house, this comes with a different financial responsibility than it is at home in the fourth house for me. So it's more about using that harvest to, in a way, you could sort of say, to supply other people with it, because eighth house deals with other people's money. So the debt obligations and the, the mortgages, the insurance, the rent, whatever the case may be, all of those other people's money type situations that deal with the eighth house is what it's intended for. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to let your family know wherever Ceres is in your chart. I would say you gotta let your family know. With me, it ain't like that. It's in the eighth house for me, so I don't gotta tell my family. You know what I'm saying? I could tell my significant other immediately. Other than that, it's off limits. Like, I ain't gotta tell nobody. You know, then that's just really how I be carrying it. But you gotta look at what house Ceres is in for you. You know what I'm saying? If it's if it's in the seventh house, you would be communicating that with your partner, definitely. You know what I'm saying? But it'll also be shown in a public light as well, because seventh house is about public affairs. So your domestic life will be public if it's in the seventh house. You know what I'm saying? If it's in the sixth house, whatever you do in the workplace is where you're going to be able to generate that harvest, all right? And be able to nurture your home and things of that nature. And so on and so forth. You apply it to the house, how it applies to you and your chart. But this is how you'll know how to obtain these things. Now, Pallas Athena deals with where your wisdom comes from. It deals with where your intelligence comes from. It deals with how able are you to make peace with other people? How is your social skills when it comes to that? How congenial moving are you? It's about equality, all right? Seeing other people's sides of the stories and being able to relate with them, being able to empathize. You understand what I'm saying? Which results in wisdom. Now, it's also about your courage, your boldness, your bravery. Where is that all taking place at? You know what I'm saying? That's what Pallas Athena is about. So again, you look at the expression, which is the sign. That's how this gets expressed, and then the house being the result. So I'm going to consistently talk about this theme, this computation of astrology that I came up with too. I don't know. I ain't hear nobody else talk about this. I've said this before, but this is how I see astrology works. There's a method to it. So with me, where I got let me see, I got by Athena in the sign of Pisces, sixth house. So for me, it's like this, right? Yeah, I see how this applies. I mean, a lot of those characteristics comes with the expression of the sign Pisces anyway. The wisdom, the intelligence, but the intuition, you know what I mean? Peacemaking, equality. Everyone is one, you know what I'm saying? This is a unison thing. Courage and boldness, but in places that you wouldn't expect when it comes to Pisces. It's usually behind the scenes, battles being fought, won, some lost too, that you wouldn't even know about, that Pisces keeps trapped away, if you will, confidential, away from everyone else. These battles that you don't know Pisces goes through. But this is what makes me wise. This is what makes me empathize with other people, because I've been through so much. You understand what I'm saying? And this is a routine in my life. Sixth house is about routine. So wherever house is for you is where the intent and the result is going to be. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going to shape these qualities about you, being able to see people on a common ground and not just be so boisterous and it's all about you. You know what I'm saying? This also influences my health factor, because the more that I'm able to express that Pallas Athena characteristic, the more I obtain well-being for myself. So I'd rather be peaceful. I know the sides of war, but I'd rather be peaceful. I'd rather be peace. My people will tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like I was the face card, and pretty much still am, you know what I'm saying, for what we got going or what we had going or whatever the case may be. It just happened to be that I had to take on certain situations to where, again, I had to get bold and I had to get brave in order to, keep things going. And also with a Piscean effect, with the Pisces expression, for those of you who have Pallas Athena and Pisces, you'll see that some of this could be make-believe. So you could actually like make books and just make up stories about how you want to be or how you should be. Careful though, because it'll end up happening. Art will imitate life, life will imitate art. So you do that the way you need to do that, the way that you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But that's Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena, you know what I'm saying? That's the two L's, you know what I'm saying? That's that Puerto Rican, you understand? So the next one is Juno. Juno. So that's about the goddess of marriage. All of these are goddesses, by the way. These asteroids are represented by goddesses. So Juno, I mentioned this in the last video that I did about Cancer. Who should I marry, Cancer or Aries? Juno is about the marriage life. You know what I'm saying? The domesticating of the significant other, being able to train each other, to learn each other, so you know how to operate with each other. You know, this is what you expect from your partner too, the obligations, the responsibilities. This is actually a challenging place for me because I have this in Cancer. So I expect that from my partner. And if they don't do those things, like being maternal, if they don't be nurturing, if they don't be, responsible and, up to par with their obligations, I have to become that. I'm going to naturally become that anyway because I'm influenced by this asteroid, Juno, right? But I'm still going to expect it from the partner. And if it doesn't match up to that, there's going to be a clash. There might be a separation because of that. And it's just like, really, you want the same from your partner the same way that you are? And it's just like, yeah. But what makes this even more conflicting is the house that it's in. It's opposite. I'm in the 10th house with Cancer. So that's Capricorn's home. That's the opposition of Cancer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to tell you how strenuous this can be. As much as I want to be sentimental with my family members and stuff like that, nurturing and giving and stuff like that, like it'll happen to an extent and then I got to cut it off because the intent is not to be that way. The result is not to be that way. The result is 10th house, meaning career, meaning prestigious, meaning recognized for it. So if I'm not being career based, I can't have a total fulfillment of the Cancer expression. And I can't do, because I got to be so responsible. I got to meet these obligations, and I got to do it in a astute manner. I got to do this in a stern manner. You know what I'm saying? So it's no time to be soft, and it's no time to spend all of this family time with one another. It's just like, okay, here, take that. I'm gonna tell you for real, like I wasn't able to even put it this way. When I was trying to be a family man, I wasn't able to even give to my family. It's just like they didn't want it. Like they just wouldn't take what I was given. Soon as I went off on my own and became a career person, like I started, being recognized for who I am and what I do, then all of a sudden I'm obligated to actually kick out and do X, Y, and Z for family and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But there's no sentimental attachment because the result is the 10th house. The intent is the 10th house. It's just I do it because I can, or when I can, right? And it's like because I got other stuff going on in the 8th house. I told y'all, like secret stuff that they have no clue, which I'm about to get to as well with Vesta. They have no clue that I'm going through or what I do. You know what I mean? But it's like, here, take this and I'm out. Like don't expect kumbaya around the fire and all that. Like if you get that out of me, you be lucky. But I know better than to hold on to that sentiment because I got to get back to being Brick City. I got to be cold out this bitch. You know what I'm saying? But again, don't let my house, the description of the house and the sign, confuse you when it comes to you reading your own chart. Just stick to the characteristics that I told you Juno was about. Marriage, the obligations, the responsibilities, and you're gonna maternity, being a mom, or just being motherly to your children. You know what I'm saying? Those things. And Vesta is the goddess of keeping the fire burning in the house, keeping the fire burning in the family. And this is also where the sacrifices are made for the greater good. Now, this applies more to me. This is more 8th house energy for me because I got, like I told you, I got Ceres in the 8th house as well. So for me, but this is in the sign of Taurus. So when it comes to my money, you got to see it. Like I could be so stingy. Like I started doing this thing, right, to where I'll go food shopping every day. Like I won't fill up my cabinets with food. I won't fill up my refrigerator and my freezer with food. because yo, if a piece of lettuce go brown in here, I get a temper tantrum. Like I go off. You know what I'm saying? Because what can happen? It's not like I haven't done it before and I don't like it. I actually feel more secure. That's a fourth house Cancer logistic, right? You feel more secure. I don't know about y'all. I feel more secure when there's tons of food in the house and stuff like that. But you know what could get to happen? I get the Netflix and snacking and cooking and dancing around, and now I'm taking 3 hours to finish 2-3 meals. I'm baking cakes and everything. Next thing you know, a whole week done went by and I haven't done what it is that needs to be done, you know. And it's just too lackadaisy. It's not enough snappy. It's not enough action. I gotta keep that fire burning in the house. So that's what this whole Vesta asteroid does. It says, yo, sacrifices need to be made. And for it being in the 8th house, for me, a lot of people don't understand it. They be like, yo, what's going on? They think something's wrong, right? Because, you know, sometimes you go in people's houses, they be like, yo, what's wrong? You ain't, you know, you bum ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck is going on in here? Like, but real bitches be filling up the refrigerator on their own. Real bitches be, yo, I don't, and this is what I mean about, it's, don't think it be limited to me keeping the fire burning in a home. I actually get visitors and stuff like that. I get packages sent to me and all kinds of shit by me living this type of lifestyle. It's just like real bitches is gonna just pitch it and do it. And I know some of y'all might be upset, like, yo, you just a pimp, you a gigolo, whatever the case may be. Women shouldn't take care of men and this, that, and the third. If you know, you know. Like, you know, I provide other stuff that they really appreciate, that they really flock to, and is really valuable to them. You know what I'm saying? I say if you know, you know, because it's 8th house shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking some 8th house shit to y'all right now. These are secrets. So you could just imagine the extent of what this information even goes to. You know what I'm saying? So this is why they do it. And I don't stop them from doing it. Again, action is activity. So this is what keeps people like coming to see me, coming to visit and all that. Like, oh, yo, put this in the grill. Oh, we going food shopping right now. Or word. I don't stop them because I understand the logistics of this. You understand what I'm saying? So, but that's what Vesta will do. Yo, Vesta have you penny pinching all over the place. And whoever don't like it, they don't like it. You know what I'm saying? You know why you're doing it. I'm not even explaining why I do it. You know why you're doing it, right? And when you got it in the 8th house, you not obligated to tell people what that is. You just know that you're making sacrifices for the greater good. And sometimes it could be disturbing. It could make you feel crazy because you don't have the end result yet, right? Tangible to say, well, what is the greatest good? How do I know I'm doing this for the greatest good? It's just some shit that you gotta know. Some shit you gotta internally, intuitively know that the bigger picture is at hand, that it gets greater later. So I'd say compare it to like Noah's Ark in those catastrophic movies where some big stage event is gonna take place and everybody's turning a blind eye to it. They live in La Vida Loca, they living their best life, and it's just one madman or this one mad woman over here TikToking conspiracy theories and doing doomsday prepping and stuff like that, and then that day hit. And then they're the hero. They're the savior. You know what I mean? I know I'm making myself look good and all that, but not while I'm going through it. People be thinking I'm fucking bananas or some broke bum ass nigga. You know what I mean? And they don't, you know how it is, man. So that's my take on the asteroids for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Sorry if I confuse y'all because I'm pertaining it to me, but it's the best way that I can explain it. Sometimes I can't just do the study the stuff and then tell you from the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta apply it to myself so that it makes sense both to me and it makes sense to you. The better you know astrology, you'll be able to follow me and apply it to yourself in your own chart. But that's why I say, just be careful. Don't get confused when you hear me talking about the signs and the houses. Just listen very closely to the characteristics of the asteroids and how they influence. All right? So hope that helps. Get in the comment section, add on if you will. I'm out.